since 1979, we've called this part of the season district. Technically, the OHSAA is calling these regionals. You can call them whatever you want. It is the most fun time of the year, like Hoosiers for high school hockey. Let's take a look at the Sylvania district/regional, and it gets really interesting at that bottom half of the bracket. Teams trying to stay away from St. Francis.
Well, yeah, I mean, you see that every year, though. The teams that can, they try to make sure that they pick the bottom part of the bracket. St. Francis notoriously has taken the top part. They got the first choice, so they went there. And now, you know, a lot of teams are going to say, hey, let's hope to see them at the end of the bracket. You know, you got to win and get to Columbus.
Yeah, St. Francis takes the #1 spot. They can be the home team throughout the tournament as long as they win. The thing I like about the bracket, the first two matchups, Whitmer and Southview, St. John's, Anthony Wayne, both teams think they have a good chance to win that. So you usually see some lopsided affairs in the first round. Those are two great games.
Who is going to win these games? These guys are going to tell you. Let's hear Matt Melzak's bracket first.
The Power Line with Matt Melzak is brought to you by Midas.
Okay, so here we go. First bracket is I get to be the guinea pig to go first. We leave Crandall's bracket. That's the one that usually matters more. His will go second. All right, here you go. Let's walk it through. This is how I went on the picks. I like Whitmer over Southview in what I agree with you would be a great game. Certainly, right there, sets up St. Francis Northview district semi. Then you take a look. I also like St. John's to upset Anthony Wayne. I think that's a close game, but I like the way St. John's has been coming along here as of late. Both teams have been playing better and better as the season has gone along. I think the biggest surprise that I have is Perrysburg upsetting Findlay. I think that's a terrific matchup. Perrysburg, there's a reason why. And that's because I like the goaltending of Sam Yonker. You saw him play. We had highlights of him in the first segment and how well he has played. I like Perrysburg in that regard. And they have one dynamic guy that can change the game in Cody Schneider. If he goes off, I like Perrysburg to upset Findlay and give me St. Francis Bowling Green for a chance to go to the state. I like the Knights.
All right.
I like the bracket. I disagree with it. I like it. I like the reasoning.
Matt, tell us why. Who you got?
All right, we'll start out in that first round matchup, Whitmer. I like what they're doing over there over Southview, although Wayne Cowan's done a good job at Southview. I'll take Whitmer in that first game. St. John's, Anthony Wayne. I like the way St. John's has been playing. They're getting the goaltending now. And if they can get a little offensive punch here in the tournament, I think they could do something. But I like them over Anthony Wayne. So, get back up to the top. St. Francis over Whitmer. That should not be a problem. Northview over Clay. BG St. John's. I like Bowling Green. The Bobcats were rolling. They hit a little hiccup in the road. They got some injuries, but they're getting back on track. And finally, in that 3-4 matchup, I am going to go with Findlay. Findlay is playing tough. They're a shutdown defensive team. Perrysburg kind of plays the same style. They do have that game breaker there, but I'm thinking maybe Michael Armstrong or Riker Featheringham can get it done for Findlay. So let's get to St. Francis Northview. I'm going to go with St. Francis once again, punching their ticket down to Columbus. And as far as Findlay, they were one overtime goal away from it last year. They made the district semifinals, lost to Northview in overtime. I think Findlay will get to the district final this year, the regional final, excuse me. But I think St. Francis will win the region.
Okay, so
Bang.
Those are your brackets.
Bang.
I like the way you're thinking. Obviously, St. Francis is the heavy favorite here. So let's get a little deeper into each of these teams. And we can start with the Knights. Everyone knows what they do well. What would it take for St. Francis to be upset?
Well, I think you have to have Jackson Smalley have an off night first. We can start with that with every team, though. But I think the biggest thing is for St. Francis, why they're so good is they're so deep. And we've talked about it all year. Maybe they don't have that game breaker player this year, but they have a lot of depth. Their top two lines are as good as anybody's in the league, and especially in the region area. So that's why they're so difficult to beat. So you have to be able to contain them, and then you've got to be able to take, and when you get offensive opportunities against them, you got to make them count.
Yeah, they don't have the offensive punch they had last year with Box and Coor and Holmeyer and the big high-flying guy. So if you want to try to beat St. Francis, try to score first on them, but it's hard to even score on them.
And maybe have a goaltender like Austin Nowak, right? That could be maybe a sleeper matchup in the second round, do you think?
The only loss that St. Francis had this year in league play was to Northview, and it was a shutout by Austin Nowak. So, yeah. The problem with that is he's not the only goaltender in this league that can shut you out. You already mentioned Jackson Smalley.
So what about Perrysburg? This is a place where you guys disagreed. Can you take us through that selection?
Well, the difference to me is the fact you got Cody Schneider, who's a game-breaking player. He's a guy who, as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, he can take the offense himself, and he can create no matter where he is out on the ice. You pair that with goaltending like Sam Yonker can give you, and it becomes difficult to beat Perrysburg if those two players are rolling.
Yeah, Sam Yonker's going to be the key in that one. If he can shut it down, that's fine. But I like Finley in the game because Finley, they're used to playing those low-scoring games. And really, the only big senior they lost last year was Ethan Franks. So these guys had a heartbreaker last year trying to get to the district final. It's been chewing at them for a year now. A lot of them are seniors now. They want to get the job done. They think they can win the game. I like Finley in this one.
You got to put some respect on Finley's name. Haven't lost at home all year. This is a team that's playing really well, and I think quietly compared to some other teams in the division too.
It's another team that's kind of built in a similar style of St. Francis. They're deep. They got a couple of lines that can be productive for them, and that's kind of the secret. They're not a team that's going to score 6 goals a game. They're not going to win a shootout game, but if it's 2-0 or 2-1, they're right there.
They are right there, and that's why I like Finley. They've been known to win those games, not only in the regionals, but that's how they play the regular season. They're not a run-and-gun, up-and-down, dangle-you type of a team.
Okay, Bowling Green, a team, maybe their outlook has changed over the last 2 weeks. They've won 3 of their last 4 now, and you have them going pretty far.
Yeah, I like them making it all the way to the final of the region, and there's a reason why. They've got plenty of offense. We know that. They've got goaltending. They're a deep team. They can get it done from a lot of different angles as far as the offense goes, and you need to be able to score at least some in the postseason. And they have a lot of experience from last year where they didn't do so well in the regular season. They got hot at the right time, Matt, and made a run.
They did. They made a great run with Luke Johnson, 2 overtime winners. So I like the offensive punch they have. I think the injury to Powers has really affected him. I watched him play last week. He's not where he needs to be. If he can get there the next week, that is really going to help him. The thing I want to know about Bowling Green, I think they're the most physical team in the Red Division. If they're allowed to play physical in regionals, they can go far. If they get penalty trouble, they could be right out.
And you see St. John's here. This is another team that is trying to figure out what works. Picked an interesting spot in the bracket. Admitted they're trying to stay away from St. Francis just like everyone else is.
Let me say this. Will Lowry works. So if you're wondering about that, he works. But he's injured too. So there's a lot of injuries going around right now. I'm not sure if Lowry's going to be there for him. I like what St. John's can do, though. They're getting a little secondary scoring there. They need a little more punch. But Declan Loisel's a guy that I think can get it done. If they can get Meter going, they'll be all right. Charlie Anderson on the back end, we like that.